Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode in the conversation. And today I got a pretty interesting question for you guys. The question is, did Allen Iverson have a much better career than James Harden? So that's what I want to get into this video today. But before we get into that, I want you guys to go ahead and hit the like button on the video and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. And let's get straight back into the content straight away. Let's get into it. Now, all of you guys know I'm above 30 years old, so I saw Allen Iverson play in his heyday, and I saw him when he was AI, the answer, when he was tearing up the league. He was, giving it to my favorite basketball player of all time, and Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant said Allen Iverson was one of the most difficult, challenges that he ever had in his NBA career, to the point where Kobe Bryant, I think after one season when AI torched him so badly in one of the games that they played against each other, he spent the entire season trying to figure out how to guard Allen Iverson, and to the point where he ended up studying the way great white sharks hunt, and he ended up, gaining some inspiration from that, or some, strategies to come back and really do a much better job on AI. So AI was on that level. This dude was no joke. Now, if we look at Allen Iverson's playing career, he won a regular season MVP award in 2001, all being 6 foot tall. He's an 11-time NBA All-Star, a 2-time NBA All-Star Game MVP winner. He's been on 7 All-NBA teams in his career. He was the Rookie of the Year in 1997. He's a 4-time NBA scoring champion. So Allen Iverson could score with the best of them. And he led the league in steals not 3 consecutive times, but he led the league in steals 3 times. Now, just to put this in perspective, when AI came into the league in 1996-1997 draft, weighing about 165 pounds, the dude averaged 23.5 points a game. Then he gave you 7.5 assists and 4.1 rebounds a game. The next season, he averaged 22 points a game. Then he averaged 26.8. Then it was another season in the 2001 season. He averaged 31.1. Then he averaged 31 points again. Then he averaged 30 points again. And then in the 2005-2006 season, the dude averaged 33. He was the second highest scorer in the league that year, behind Kobe Bryant, who averaged 35.5 points a game. So Allen Iverson was a beast, okay? And he's played 82 games for a season multiple times. Now, if we look at his career averages, think about this. AI, for his entire career, he averaged 26.7 points a game, which is a higher average than Kobe Bryant, who's my favorite basketball player of all time, who averaged 25 points a game. He got you 3.7 rebounds and 6.2 assists. Now, the thing to understand about Allen Iverson was also that he was a volume shooter. He wasn't the most efficient guy, but he was a volume shooter. And at times, he could be a defensive liability on the court just because of his size and his weight. He didn't have a lot of size to him. He wasn't a heavy guy playing the point guard. So a lot of times, bigger point guards like Baron Davis and others could actually back him down and score on him in the paint. So he created a little bit of, the way Larry Brown would use him. He would also hide him on defense. And it's actually remarkable that he was able to take that team, that the Philadelphia 76ers in 2000, take him through, all the way to playoffs, and had one of the greatest playoff runs. And no one forgets the duels that he had with Ray Allen and Vince Carter, and ultimately go to the NBA championship to play against Shaq and Kobe, when Shaq was Shaq. And in that first game, I think he dropped 48 points in game 1. And we all remember the shot, the famous step over, when he stepped over Tyronn Lue after hitting the shot, which is an iconic moment for Allen Iverson, and probably his #1 highlight, right up there with the time he crossed up Michael Jordan. And after he was able to win that game, although they lost the next 4 games, the country fell in love with him because of his heart. He was like the underdog, and people immediately fell in love with AI, and that's why to this day he is so beloved. Now, let's look at James Harden, okay? James Harden has also won a regular season MVP award in 2018. He's an 8-time All-Star. He's been on 6 All-NBA teams. He's won the NBA Six-Man Award in 2012, because you got to remember, he used to play with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook with the Oklahoma City Thunder. He was the sixth man coming off the bench, and he would actually run the offense for them. So he always had this ability to facilitate an offense. He led the league in scoring in back-to-back years in 2018, 2019. He's also led the league in assists in 2017. Now, AI has won more scoring titles than James Harden. They have about the same amount of amount of MVPs 1-to-1, and AI has been on more all NBA teams, and he's been on more All-Star teams. So if we're looking at the overall resume of both of these players, AI is currently leading James Harden. Now, if we look at James Harden's averages this season, the dude is averaging 34.4 points a game, 6.4 rebounds, and 7.4 assists. He's playing 37 minutes a game. He's shooting 43% from the field, so he's in the low 40s. He's not even at 45%. But the dude attempts 23 shots a game, which is more than Kawhi, but Kawhi makes more of his shots. James Harden is shooting 35% from the field. Now, a lot of you guys, James Harden is synonymous for a step-back three-pointer. Now, what some of you guys may not be aware of is that James Harden attempts 12.6 three-pointers a game, and he makes 4.4, and he shoots 35% from the field. Now, granted, he's giving you 7.4 assists and 6.4 rebounds. Now, if we have to look at them in scoring, I think Allen Iverson is a much more dynamic scorer. Why? Because Allen Iverson can score in a myriad of ways. James Harden's number one go-to move is a step-back three-pointer, and actually, more than 50% of his offense, or 50% of his offense, comes from three-point attempts. So he's much more predictable because half of the time he's going to be chucking up threes, and to be averaging almost 13 threes a game is basically you're chucking threes, basically, but also is because of the system that he plays in. Now, what's been the biggest knock on James Harden is that he's always come up small in high leverage moments, and some James Harden fans are not going to like this. I really don't care. But James Harden has come up short in high leverage moments, but yet they feel like he should be this dude. But if we're comparing him to Allen Iverson, although he never won an NBA championship, just like James Harden, but Allen Iverson took a team of defensive players and took them to the Eastern Conference Gauntlet in the 2000-2001 season and went to the NBA Finals to play against probably the best 1-2 punch in the history of the NBA and play against probably the most dominant basketball player of all time in Shaquille O'Neal, and won the first game, dropping 48 points in the first game, standing at 6'1", weighing 165 pounds. To me, that season that Allen Iverson had is one of the most impressive MVP seasons of all time, just for the simple fact that if you look at that Philadelphia 76 roster, who were just full of defensive players, the Dikembe Mutombo, Eric Snow, and all of these guys, he was able to take that team through the East, basically being the first and only scoring option, and take him to the NBA Finals. If you look at James Harden, James Harden has played with the Chris Paul before. He's now playing with the Russell Westbrook. He played with the Dwight Howard. Name another All-Star that Allen Iverson played with when he was the man, when he was in the Eastern Conference, except for the time when he moved to the Western Conference to be paired against Carmelo Anthony, and they got knocked out of the playoffs the first time, I think, in a sweep by Kobe in 2008. But I mean, Kobe is Kobe, so you already know what it is with Kobe. But then they were never able to make it to the East, to the Western Conference Finals. But Allen Iverson has been to the NBA championship round as the man on the team. James Harden has been to the championship, but he was not the best player on the team. It was Kevin Durant, then Russell Westbrook, and then him. But AI took his team to the NBA championship round as the best player and won the first game against one of the greatest teams of all time. So for me, if I'm comparing their resumes, yes, AI has finished he's finished playing. He played for 14 years, and James Harden has only played for 10 years. But AI, to me, had the better career. And if we think about the impact off the court, it's not even close, because Allen Iverson was a cultural phenomenon. If you see, people walking around with tattoos or cornrows, braids, that all originated from Allen Iverson. So for me, I think Allen Iverson had the better career. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think that Allen Iverson had a better career, or you think it's James Harden that's had a better career? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Peace.